like this.
Call this Biggie Smalls because Caitlin Clark is having a phenomenal year, 20 points, 8 assists. But how do they really keep things going? Well, they have a big three and they step up in big moments.
Caitlin Clark is having a big year, but how do they really keep?
Stephanie White is systematically erasing Caitlin Clark from the Indiana Fever, and the fans just delivered the most brutal, undeniable verdict imaginable. When the Fever took on the Las Vegas Aces without Caitlin Clark in the lineup, the arena was a ghost town. Empty seats, entire sections abandoned, tickets cheaper than a McDonald's small fry. The fans spoke with their wallets, and the message was deafening. We are not showing up to watch Stephanie White's vision of basketball. We came for Caitlin Clark, period. And when she is not on the floor, the entire economic engine of this franchise grinds to a catastrophic halt. But here is the part that should terrify every single person in the Indiana Fever front office: Stephanie White does not care. She is building a team designed to win without Caitlin Clark. And the evidence is now impossible to ignore. Welcome back. This is Hoop Vision, and today we are exposing the calculated dismantling of the most valuable player in women's basketball, and the franchise-killing consequences Stephanie White refuses to acknowledge. Let me be entirely clear with you. This is not about one game. This is not about rest. This is about a head coach who has decided that Caitlin Clark basketball is not the way forward. And the fans just showed her exactly what happens when you make that choice. The Indiana Fever crushed the Las Vegas Aces 84-68. Kelsey Mitchell dropped 27 points. Aliyah Boston finished with 18 points and 10 rebounds. The Fever won by 16, and the building was empty, empty, empty. Take a deep breath and sit with that for a second. A 16-point blowout victory, and the fans refused to show up. That is not apathy. That is a boycott. Before I get to what the broadcast tried to hide, I need you to understand the financial devastation we are documenting here. Lower bowl seats, the 100 section, courtside proximity, were selling for less than the cost of a small fry at McDonald's. No drink, no burger, just the fry. That is how little demand there was to watch this version of the Indiana Fever. You guys already know that Caitlin Clark fans travel, they pack arenas on the road, they buy jerseys. They drive television ratings. They are the economic foundation of this franchise. And when Stephanie White benches her, those fans do not transfer their loyalty to Kelsey Mitchell or Aliyah Boston. They stay home. They do not buy tickets. They do not watch. And the league just got a terrifying glimpse of what the WNBA looks like without Caitlin Clark as the centerpiece. Now, before I show you the receipts, let me promise you something specific. At the 9-minute mark of this video, I am going to lay out 5 predictions about where this is headed, and every single one of them is going to make you uncomfortable. Save this video. Come back in 2 weeks. Roast me if I am wrong. But I am telling you right now, Stephanie White is playing a dangerous game and the clock is ticking.
I want everyone to notice how much harder Indiana players play when Caitlin is out. Do you think the coach has divided the locker room and has players convinced Caitlin Clark basketball is not the way forward? It seems they play with more effort and energy when CC is out.
Let me walk you through exactly what happened in Las Vegas, because the scoreboard does not tell the real story. The Indiana Fever dismantled the Aces 84-68. Kelsey Mitchell led the way with 27 points on 7 of 18 shooting, 3 of 9 from 3 but 10 of 12 from the free throw line. That is her third consecutive game with 25 points or more. Third straight game. Aliyah Boston struggled early, missing layups left and right in the first half, but she turned it on in the second half. 18 points, 10 rebounds, plus 16, 3 of 4 from the three-point line. She was dominant when it mattered. Lexi Hull chipped in 10 points on 5 of 10 shooting. Sophie Cunningham, the blonde bomber, hit 3 of 5 from 3 for 9 points. Raven Johnson played solid defense. The Fever were locked in. And the Las Vegas Aces, they looked absolutely lost without a Ja Wilson. Chelsea Gray was horrific, 2 of 11 from the floor. She was moving like she had a piano strapped to her back. Kelsey Plum was not in the lineup. Jackie Young was okay, but not enough to carry the load. And here is the part that should alarm every Aces fan watching this. Kirsten Bell had 0 points on 2 shots. 0. She averaged 20 points off the bench earlier this season. And after that whole social media situation where she commented on a post about being under shackles, she has completely disappeared. She does not look at the rim anymore. She does not try to score. Something happened behind the scenes and the Aces are not talking about it. Jules Lloyd went 3 of 9. She might be the most overrated player in the league right now. The Aces were garbage without a Ja Wilson. Absolute garbage. So the Fever won by 16. Dominant performance. Kelsey Mitchell is on fire. Aliyah Boston is playing like an all-star again. Everything is clicking and the building was empty. Entire sections wide open. You could see rows and rows of empty seats on the broadcast. The fans no-showed. And I want every single person watching this video to ask yourself one question: why? The answer is Caitlin Clark. The fans did not come to see Kelsey Mitchell hunt shots in transition. They did not come to see Aliyah Boston hit three-pointers. They came to see Caitlin Clark orchestrate an offense, break records, and put on a show. And when she is not there, the value proposition collapses. The tickets are not worth it. The drive is not worth it. The babysitter is not worth it. The fans stay home, and that is exactly what happened in Las Vegas. Now, here is where it gets even more calculated. The broadcast coverage of this game was deliberate. ESPN analysts Andrea Carter and Chini Ogwumike spent the entire game talking about the Fever's big three, but they were not talking about Caitlin Clark. Watch this.
Like this.
Call this Biggie Smalls because Caitlin Clark is having a phenomenal year, 20 points, 8 assists. But how do they really keep things going? Well, they have a big three and they step up in big moments.
Caitlin Clark is having a big year, but how do they really keep?
Did you catch that? Call this Biggie Smalls because Caitlin Clark is having a phenomenal year, 20 points, 8 assists. But how do they really keep things going? Well, they have a big three and they step up in big moments. Aliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell, clearly, right? Clearly. Let me say that back to you in case you missed it. Caitlin Clark is having a phenomenal year, 20 points, 8 assists, but the way the Fever really keep things going is through Aliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell. That is the narrative ESPN is selling. That is the story Stephanie White is feeding the media. And that is the most insulting, calculated erasure of a generational talent I have ever witnessed. Caitlin Clark is averaging 20 points and 8 assists. She is the engine of this offense. She is the reason the Fever made the playoffs. She is the reason the arena is packed when she plays. And ESPN just told you that the big three is actually Aliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell. Biggie Smalls, 2 players, not 3. Caitlin Clark is having a phenomenal year, but let's talk about how the team really wins. That is not analysis, that is propaganda. And Stephanie White is the one feeding it to them. I made a video 3 weeks ago breaking down how Stephanie White was icing Caitlin Clark out of fourth quarter possessions. I showed you the play-by-play data. I showed you the shot distribution. I told you this was coming, and now ESPN is openly promoting a 2-player core that does not include the franchise player. This is not an accident. This is a coordinated effort to rewrite the story of this team, and the fans are not buying it. The empty arena in Las Vegas is proof.
I want everyone to notice how much harder Indiana players play when Caitlin is out. Do you think the coach has divided the locker room and has players convinced Caitlin Clark basketball is not the way forward? It seems they play with more effort and energy when CC is out.
Now let me escalate this for you because what Stephanie White is doing is not just bad coaching, it is franchise sabotage. Let me break this down into 4 passes, and I want you to listen closely to every single word. And here is the receipt that nobody on television will show you because of what it proves about who is driving this narrative. Watch this. I want everyone to notice how much harder Indiana players play when Caitlin is out. Do you think the coach has divided the locker room and has players convinced Caitlin Clark basketball is not the way forward? It seems they play with more effort and energy when CC is out. That is a fan asking the question that the media refuses to ask. Do you think the coach has divided the locker room? Do you think Stephanie White has convinced the players that Caitlin Clark basketball is not the way forward? Because that is exactly what it looks like. The effort level is different. The ball movement is different. The defensive intensity is different. And the only variable that changed is Caitlin Clark is not on the floor. I was under the assumption, and clearly I was wrong, that the job here was to win with Caitlin Clark and to build around Caitlin Clark. That was the mandate when Stephanie White was hired. That was the promise to the fans. That was the foundation of the entire rebuild. But Stephanie White has clearly decided to go in another direction. She's building a team around Kelsey Mitchell and Aliyah Boston. She is constructing an offense that does not need Caitlin Clark, and the fans are rejecting it. The empty arena is the proof. The ticket prices are the proof. The silence from the front office is the proof. And here is what should terrify the Indiana Fever. This is not sustainable. You cannot build a WNBA franchise without a superstar. You cannot sell tickets without a draw. You cannot negotiate television deals without ratings. And Caitlin Clark is all 3 of those things. She is the superstar, she is the draw, she is the ratings. And Stephanie White is gambling that she can win without her. That gamble is going to cost the Fever everything. Now let me lay out the verdict. I am about to stake 5 predictions, and every single one of them is on the record. Come back in 2 weeks and roast me if I am wrong. But I am telling you right now, I have been tracking this for 6 weeks and the pattern is undeniable. Here we go. And here's the closing emotional beat that nobody wants to say out loud. Caitlin Clark is out there right now in her prime, doing everything the haters said she could not do. She is averaging 20 points and 8 assists. She is leading the league in hockey assists. She is selling out arenas. She is breaking television records. She is doing all of this while being systematically marginalized by her own head coach. And the fans see it. The empty arena in Las Vegas is the proof. The fans are not going to watch Stephanie White's version of the Indiana Fever. They are going to watch Caitlin Clark. And if the Fever do not figure that out soon, they are going to lose both. Now here is what I need from you. Drop your most honest take in the comments. Is Stephanie White deliberately building a team that does not need Caitlin Clark, or is this just bad coaching? Pick a side, defend it. I want to see the debate. And while you are down there, save this comment. I just predicted that Stephanie White will not be the head coach by the 2026 season opener. If I am right by opening night next year, come back and tell me. If I am wrong, roast me. I will own it. Tag the friend who keeps telling you the Fever are better without Caitlin Clark. Make them watch this video and tell you they still believe it after seeing that empty arena. And here is what is coming next. Tomorrow we are going to break down the Fever's next 3 games and exactly how Stephanie White is going to try to spin this narrative. If you are not subscribed, you are going to miss it. Hit the bell. This is Hoop Vision. We will see you in the next video.